The second half of the opening weekend, Kuurne, another ride through West Flanders and into the Flemish Ardennes with some of the superstars of world cycling present. 197 kilometres were on the menu and 6 riders went away in an early break. They be Bodnar, Gamper, De Winter, Zakharov, Fideberg and Paco. Mathieu van der Poel and Jonathan Narvaez would light things up as the race approached Ronse. Van der Poel had initially said he'd be coming here as lead-out man for Tim Merlier. Just over 80 kilometres to go and 3 minutes and 25 seconds still to make up. They were doing pretty well. On to the next climb they go, the Kruisberg. And they'd be getting closer and closer to what was left of the break. Behind the race approached the Alde Quaremont for the first time of many in this spring season. Van der Poel and Narvaez would make it to the front, and behind the action would start with just over a minute and a half the gap. Degenkolb and defending champion Askreen getting in the mix. Matteo Trentin would join them with the likes of Narsum van Avermaet, and a raft of other riders would be there too. The race settled at the front into 5 men. The 2 attackers plus 3 remaining riders from the breakaway. Gamper still there with Zakharov and Fideberg. 2 other groups would be behind, and they'd eventually come together. Cross tailwind towards the end on the way back to Kuurne would make things very interesting. And the first passage of the finish line would see this situation, only around a 10-second gap to the next group. Another further group would come back into Group 2. 11.5 Ks to go at this point. And as the race went back to Kortrijk and returned to Kuurne, Kasper Askreen would do his best to close what would then become a 19-second gap. His acceleration meant that the 5 riders out front would eventually be caught with 1.5 kilometres still to go. And once into the final stretch, the sprint was launched. Trek Segafredo, who had been absent at Omloop at Nieuwsblad, only a 57th place position their best. Today, they'd exchanged that for first. Mads Pedersen coming across the line after being launched by Jasper Stuyven. Second place went to Turgis, third to the young British rider Pidcock. The former world champion taking career win number 16, Pedersen off the mark in 2021. A top 10 with Pedersen, Turgis and Pidcock, joined by Trentin and Biermans, Colbrelli, Pollitt, Van Avermaet, Van Leeuwenberghe and Ressel making up those 10 best riders. And on the top of the podium, Mads Pedersen making it a solid start to Trek Segafredo in 2021. And at the end of opening weekend, some top performances, plenty more cobbled action still to come.